think to impart some of what the panelists said, I think that 1L summer, y'all are getting into that sweet spot almost. Be a sponge, man. I went to every professor after class. I didn't care what people thought. Like, I wanted to learn more and show those people that I was hungry for something. I didn't really know what in my 1L year. But develop relationships with professors that I still talk to here. Mm-hmm. Dean Harrison Mercer and I, we still talk, and Dave and I text on occasion. I text Yvonne Betancourt about jobs and just general crap about practice that's not fun. But that idea of being a sponge and just soaking up as much as you can and extending your hand when it feels uncomfortable, because it will, doing that. I think we're getting to the point where, and this one's huge for me, and I think we'll have a lot to share about this one. Just this over idea of what bad branding is and things that go along with bad habits, bad practices. It's so ironic that we're even talking about this presentation today, but was on the phone with another alumni who's been around forever. He's a dinosaur. I mean, he graduated like in the 1900s or something. We were joking about, not joking, but I said, man, it's crazy because there was a student in Dave and R's class who posted something during the new orientation for lawyers thing at the state bar. You all go have to do it. It's not fun, it's boring. But there was a former GTLA president speaking about lawyer suicide, which is a big deal. I mean, it's a stressful profession. And this student posted something on Facebook, checked into the state bar. She's an attorney now, but checked into the state bar and talked about how boring this presentation was about suicide and how it was a waste of her time. A few hours later, that former president of GTLA posted a comment and said, hey, look, this is a serious thing. You shouldn't talk like that, And whenever that person's name comes up, that's the first thing that comes into my mind. That's the first thing I think about is, what a clown. Who would do such a thing? It's not if he or she's a good attorney or not. So let's talk a little bit about that. What are some things that y'all see in terms of bad branding?
You just have integrity. And always, if you do what you say you're going to do and say what you're going to do, just be honest. I had an experience with an attorney whose reputation will forever be dark, in my opinion. He said something about me that got me in trouble at the DA's office because of my criminal history, and they ended up terminating me. And then every time I see this guy, he doesn't know that I know. But I know that other people have told me he's done the same thing. I think you probably know who that is. And see, that's what people think, when you do. We started out with a quote from Oprah, and just to kind of paraphrase the whole thing, it was do the right thing. Always do the right thing. Just don't lie, don't cheat, don't steal. Don't be the reason someone else stumbles, and your reputation is going to grow. If you don't do it, it's so easy to have integrity and be lawful. I mean, it doesn't take much work. Just do it all the time, every day.
I think from a law school perspective, being prepared, being on time, knowing your material. Your classmates, you all probably are looking at each other, and guess what? When you all are attorneys, you're going to call on their classmate who was the top and who was prepared. So, you're auditioning at every class you go to. So I think in law school, in terms of doing the right thing is what was said. And, after you get out, making sure for me, everywhere I go, I probably have on a bow tie or a coat or, I try to look professional probably 90% of the time, unless I'm somewhere on a cruise or what have you. But just making sure wherever you go, I like to speak to the janitors. I speak to everybody, and just treat everybody
it's just
with professional courtesy.
Talking about, I'm sorry to cut you off because you brought up a good point. And when they're having a luncheon at the school and there's the last student who's filling up his book bag with stuff and is taking it off, that's what people remember. When I walk by a hallway and I see Lyman in a professor's office talking to him, that's what I remember. And so when I'm out there practicing, I'll never send a case to the guy who's out there trying to scrunch everything up for himself. I'm over there sending it to the people who are curious and trying to do the best they can to develop into the best practitioner they can be.
And with your competition, there's going to be many other attorneys doing the same exact thing that you're doing. They're not your competition. Call them, brainstorm with them. Sometimes you have a conflict and you want to refer someone out to your colleagues, there's more than enough work to go around right now, and you really need to treat your colleagues, your classmates who also do the same thing you do with the same respect that you're going to treat opposing counsel.
I have two things to say. One, immediately I have to echo what Ms. Solano said. The fact that you have other colleagues that do the same thing as you is awesome.
Yeah.
Because I guarantee you, you can run into somebody that's practiced for 50 years and you've only been practicing for 1 week. And you may have experience with an issue that 50-year practitioner has not had, and vice versa. So the fact that your colleagues practice similar fields of law is fantastic, because I know that they're going to come up with issues that you're not going to see, or vice versa, and you can piggyback off of each other. Now, as far as bad branding, I look at it this way. One of my favorite quotes is by Aristotle. Aristotle said that man is the noblest and kindest of all animals, but separated from law and justice, he is the worst. I take that literally. One of the worst things you can do for your brand is not show up to court. Show up to court. And I say that, it sounds very elementary, but my very first job, the attorney, solo practitioner I worked for, he would show up to court with alcohol in his breath, drugged up, hungover, claiming he had a certain disease, but he wasn't fooling anyone. It was something else. My very first week on the job, I had to go to Gwinnett County for a child support contempt hearing, where my client was being held in contempt. I had to go up against a very well-respected attorney in Gwinnett County who I interviewed for an internship prior, so that was, no pressure there. And I was supposed to meet my boss, and he did not show up. I had to face the firing squad of my client, the judge, and opposing counsel. Okay, I can't tell you how many times I had to face the firing squad. I learned, show up to court and show up on time, and if you can't, call the clerk, say, look, I'm running 5-10 minutes late. That'll work wonders. Show up to court. That's one of the things that I can't stress enough. And we all have legitimate circumstances. We can't make it, challenge something didn't sync, we forgot. It happens. But then you can always correct it. But when you're doing it repeatedly, your brand is horrible. Because I remember clients would tell me, yeah, your boss, he told me he was going to do this. And I would show up to court and they would say, well, who the hell are you? Your boss was supposed to be here. He told me that he was going to give me this, that we were going to get off on this, and you're telling me something else? And now you tell me that it's actually cost more money? His brand went down the toilet just because of that. Because what was the real issue there? He didn't believe in the law. Are you separated from law and justice, as Aristotle said? Do you believe in what you're practicing, or are you in this because you just want the prestige of the title? You want the prestige of that Esquire, that JD? Because if that's all you want, you don't believe in the law. You have to believe in the law. People can smell that. And your clients can see right through that.
The Atlanta legal community is very small. I'm telling you right now that when word gets out that somebody's done something that's kind of shady, or the attorney Dave talks about, that I won't mention what he did again, but everybody knows who that guy is, and nobody likes him. And we all look at each other and we're like, how is this guy getting work? He's fooling everybody. The other thing I'd say is, everybody's talked about this golden rule of law. I'm going to treat you as I want to be treated every day, day in, day out. There's a caveat. If you cross me, I'm going to unload on you. I'm going to go to war. I'm going to get pugilistic. But up until that point, I'm going to treat you as I want to be treated. A little bit about branding is obviously social media. Social media is very important. I shared that story I had about it. What do y'all do social media-wise, or what part does social media play in the process of your branding?
I think it's huge. One of the things I'm exploring now is doing different videos, putting information out, starting a blog, just different things to increase my market share. There's no way in terms of my practice area, competing again with the large law firms and, people on buses and billboards and all that type of thing. So to the extent possible that I can reach people through social media, I try to do that.
Social media is a full-time job, and I'm just now finding someone to help me with that. There's so much. And I just did a presentation on Saturday on marketing, and I made a big disclaimer that I don't do everything that I'm presenting, but it's in our marketing campaign. Facebook? Do you do Instagram? Do you do Twitter? Facebook is people to business to consumer. LinkedIn is business to business. And there's just so many things out there. And you also have to find what works. For my Latino clients, they don't respond to the email newsletters, but they respond to the one I print out and mail to their house. And then for some of the other cultures that we represent, they respond to social media. But I'm experimenting with videos as well. People they want videos. People don't want to read. People don't want to look at pictures. They want videos. And another thing with branding is how much of yourself are you giving to the public and to your clients? And I'm actually struggling with that right now. I don't have that much. I've never had that much Facebook activity personally, but I only accept family, close friends, and colleagues, and I have dozens of requests every day from people that I don't know. So I'm thinking about setting up a whole separate Zaira Solano Facebook and just put some personal things here and there because people want to connect to us. They want to know that we're people just like them. We go grocery shopping. We hang out in pajamas on Saturday mornings. We got kids to take to soccer, baseball, and all that kind of stuff. And social media is just, it's like top of mind awareness for everybody. That's where they're going to find information about you.
Yeah, and I think you also need to be very consistent and thorough because it's a digital footprint that never is gone. So while you can delete it, it'll disappear for a little while. What ends up happening is it can resurface because someone has a snap image of it or whatever the case may be. Speaking to the point that Thomas made with regards to the event, when someone posted negatively, that can be saved in a snap image forever. And whether you're posting that or you're posting images or you're posting articles, post something that's consistent with your brand. Show who you are. It's an online storefront, basically, for people to understand who you are. I mean, for me, personally, and I'm probably just saying this to flatter myself a little bit, but I have published a book, and my book has a website, it has a good video on it, and I tell the truth there. I tell about who I am, what I am, and why I am. And CBS ended up contacting me, and we ended up filming a show called Hunted with them. That's how that started, because we put on a good online storefront. And it was the best decision I've ever made, is just to be patient with it, to be consistent with it, and to be thorough with it. So just think it through. Don't just post, because it's forever.
And I think, that's Dave brings up a point that I think is really important with respect to social media. And I can tell you, I follow him on all social media, and I've seen some of his exploits. It's always the same message, no matter what. Whether he's on network television or he's on Instagram, it's always the same message that I see. So when I think of Dave, I think of, man, this guy's really out there trying to help people, no matter what he does. We're going to open up for questions in a minute. That to me is an important part. I hope there's 2 or 3. Last year we had like 1, and I talked for a long time, so we don't want to do that today. Real quick though, each of y'all in 1 minute or less, you're on the clock. I'm going to time you. Not really. What other advice would you give the law students about when and how to build their brands? And we'll start with Nick and just go down the road.
Sure. Your brand begins the moment you walk into your classroom every day. Who are you as an individual, which will translate who are you as a student, which will translate who are you as an intern, which will ultimately translate who are you as an attorney. You don't want to just be a lawyer, be an attorney, because an attorney is licensed to practice. A lawyer just studied the law. There's a difference. Be an attorney, and your brand starts the moment you set foot in law school, day one. Learn how to. I believe in the Bible. The Bible says it is prudent for a man to analyze his own conduct, self-correct, self-improve, and then branch out and develop how to relate with others. And then your brand will start developing automatically.
I read, I'm not sure who was the author of it, but when it came to branding, they said the 3 C's were clarity, consistency, and constancy. Clarity in your message, how you want to portray yourself, consistent in terms of what that message is, and constancy that you keep doing it over and over and over and over and over, and it will begin to resonate with people. And instead of people forming you, you'll form who you want them to see you as and be successful.
For me, there's a quote that's one of my favorite quotes. It's, I'm not what happened to me, I am what I chose to become. And you can choose what you become. Every decision you make has an impact on your future. Think it through. Be thoughtful of what the impact and the consequence and the possible repercussions are, and just do that. Choose to become who you want to become. Know what your purpose is, and make sure you focus on making the right decisions to fulfill that purpose. Human capital is hands down the number one resource you will ever have. So treat people like you want to be treated, and build your brand by being kind to others, and it will make a huge difference.
So what am I supposed to add to all that? I'm going to go back to the beginning and be true to yourself. And we, as attorneys that practice law, there's one thing we do. We improve the lives of everyone that we serve. And you don't have to wait till you're an attorney to improve the life of someone else around you. You got classmates. They have issues. Things come up. They need help. They need a hand. Help them out, because that's what you're going to do when you're an attorney.